Welcome back to Paint Hand Dan Live, everyone. Alright, happy Friday. Good to see ya. Thanks for hanging out with me. So, today, we'll do a little update. Last time we did... Oh, let me get this little backdrop here. We get these guys out of the way. This might be our plan for today. Let me get in some of these guys prepared. So we'll just go over what we did last time. You take 1 second to make sure my mics and cameras are all working okay. Okay, we're good here. We're good here. We're good here. Alright. I think we're good everywhere. So, last time, we were painting these little dots. And there's a lot of yellow dots. Lots and lots of yellow dots. You know, mostly the big old fat dots. We put some malignant green and some, I can't remember if it was camo cloak or absolution green. But we put those greens on his butt rag. I think I decided that I didn't really like the pink except for those little tiny dots. And kind of cleaned up some of the bone and the skulls. Let's see if I can get in on that. Ooh, okay, there's a good one up there. Let's see if I can't get the zoom on this. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Those little skulls in that corner there. We kind of buffed them all up. I was thinking maybe giving their eyes a bit of a blue glow. I mean, if we've done enough yellow dots, what's, you know, another million blue dots now? Well, we'll probably use blue and white dots to make that glow. Alrighty. But I think we might stay away from the dots right now. Oops. And we might go for a little bit of a change. So we have these two little nurgly minions. Let me get my light a little better here. Hope you can see. It's all primed black when I got them. So I got some gray airbrush paint that's sitting in a warm bath right now, getting I guess loosening up, I would say. But we'll do a little dust of the gray airbrush paint and then maybe a little bit of white slap chop on these guys. They're black when I got them. They're all primed black when this guy was primed white. So we'll take it from there. This guy looks pretty cool. He's got like flaming skulls in his hand. He's got a little staff with a bell. His tongue sticking out. It looks pretty ugly in there. You can't really see, I don't think. The slap chop will help visibly so you can read it. This guy is this big dude with the scythe. He's missing a hand. So if we use these guys, we're gonna have to find this dude a hand. I found one. Now this little hand here, he's got like big chubby arms and tiny little hands. So putting a little space marine, finding a kind of small hand is the way to go, but a lot of them have like a really narrow wrist, kind of like my scrawny chicken arms here. So these narrow wrists look kind of goofy. I could either, when they're on this big chunky wrist on this armor, I could either use a little blob of milliput and taper it off, or I could just use a chunkier hand and hope people don't notice. I'll probably go with the chunkier hand. We'll see. I might just go with a chunkier hand because I'm pretty sure I have a chunkier right hand somewhere. So we'll go back to that. This last one is a... So you can get a view. This one's pretty... kind of hard to read. Actually, you know what? In pieces, you can kind of read it much easier than the big blob. So that's his head here. He's got like his teeth and his tongue sticking out. Some look like fungusy tendrils sticking off his head. He's got a big boogery neck. His body's right here. Pop that off. He's got a little arm there, a little sort of tail. And these two spots here, ooh, let's put that down, are for where this little joint and this arm connect. So he kind of has kind of foosh in his wrist. Oh, yeah, I'm struggling with how to figure out how to get this bad boy on. So, ooh, that seemed to fit the bill. Boom, right in there. Yeah, we'll struggle with that again when we get to it. So this guy is they're referred to as a fine cast by Games Workshop. And online, I've kind of read that a lot of people don't like fine cast. Came in a box like this. And a lot of people say that the molds don't stick or fit together very well. And after fighting with this thing, I might agree with them. This was it took a lot of cleaning, so I haven't even fully put it together yet. But in there's a nice big seam that I filled with some Tamiya putty. I'll probably have to sand down. His head went on pretty nicely. You can still see a little bit of a mold line there. But I used a bit of like this kind of is it the nail glue, the cyanoacrylate nail glue. So that kind of it kind of fills the gap even if it looks clear. Like I can still get a fingernail in there a little bit. That'll be hard to notice. Getting this thing on the body will be noticeable. Like it makes a big dirty fault line down here somewhere. Yeah, you can see that big line. It's pretty chunky. So we'll see. Kind of thought, I'll take the body here, of putting this little blob up here. And so while this dude's looking that way, this guy up here is looking that way. You know, we'll kind of Bob Ross it. Everyone needs a friend. So, but yeah, we'll see if I fight with that fine cast or we get these guys. I'll take a sec to pick through and we'll see if I can find the hand I was looking for. We can do a live bits hunt. Yeah. It's in here somewhere. Let's see. I had a right hand. Oh, that's a left hand. No. Oh, where the hell did that hand go? I'm kicking around somewhere. There's that damn left hand again. Thought I was smart enough to put it aside, and I guess I was. Just wasn't smart enough to remember. Well, if you managed to glimpse any bits in there that you'd like to see glued to something, let me know. Ooh, that's some glaring light. Let's see if I can fix that a little. We'll see. We might just have to fight with that. Okay. So, here we'll go back to our side view. So this is going to be our right hand. It's a bit chunkier. So I'm just going to snip everything off. Put it kind of wrist out and give him a little fist. Maybe I'll fit something to it, but we'll just get this hand off for now. So what I'm going to do with this, because it's a bit chunky and I don't want it to like smush when I shear it, instead of using sprue cutters, hold on, this is going to take me a second to put together, so while I'm fighting with it, let me check my comment section. What's going on here? Ah! Hey, I'm doing the, I gotta go type and say hi. Who's a 7? What's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Oh man, so this is, I know you're probably used to the big boy tools. This is my saw. Woo. Yeah. Little hobby saw. Oh crap. Oh, it's all good. So I'm gonna use this thing to chop off that hand. I'm gonna chop off your arm. Are you ready? I know you'll get that reference. So we'll just line up a nice little... There we go. Get our Evil Dead on and saw this hand off. Yeah, I'm just gonna line it up and just little pulls. Oh man, that's so contextually appropriate. It's too bad I don't have either my Evil Dead or my Wu-Tang hoodie on. So I'm just taking little passes with it. I don't want to cut his thumb off. There we go. Get that a little bit. This piece I can just yank off. And we're gonna... Shoulder or the wrist? No, we're cutting the wrist. We don't need anything else. Hold on a sec before I line this up, because I might get stuck into the sawing motion again. Just take a look up here. Are you my judge? I despise your killing and raping. You're despicable. Oh man, that's so good. I wish I could like have my background music as like some of that. That would be such a good plug right now. And so once again, we're just kind of hacking at this arm, nice and easy. Ooh. Nice and easy with my friggin' dopey hands in the way, so you can't see what I'm doing. Here, maybe I'll switch it so get the double look here. There we go. Yeah. Oh, slipping. Losing my track. Yep, there we go. Come on. Just gonna go for a nice clean saw cut here. Oops, skipping a little. That's getting ugly. I have a smaller set of teeth for this saw, which would probably be smarter. And it is a pull saw, so you should just be pulling and resetting and pulling, because these teeth are so tiny. But you know, I'm just gonna hack at it. Come on, hand. Almost there. Let's see, we're getting through that. Making our way to the pinky. Let me get this thing out of the way. So we'll get these little cutters here. Can I get them in there? Will they fit? Nope. Maybe? Nah. It's a nice little gully there though, so that saw should just fit in and slide. There we go. Arm chopped off. Okay. I'm gonna get this little piece off as well. Ooh, that's a tight squeeze. Once again, we're just gonna do the pulls. Try not to slice our thumb while we do it. Just nice, easy pulls. Ooh. I'm starting to cut my fingernail, right? See if I can get the cutters in now. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Alright. There's a nice big chunky hand for him. Boom. And we'll spray that black. That's gonna need a little cleaning. We'll get a file. Whilst we do, let's just check in and see what's happening. Yeah. So, for all those watching now or tuning in later, my buddy who's a 7 is a carpenter and does some wood carvings. I always tell him, man, you should get, post your stuff. So you should post your stuff, dude. It's a great platform to share your art. And I think I was saying on the last one, the last one I was like, I was talking about how I was kind of like phobic of social media, and this has actually been a really good experience. But you're really good at your art. You should share it. Any particular colors I'm going to go with? Not sure. These guys, I want them to stand out from this thing's skin. I'm thinking for their flesh, I'll bring it in a little closer, for their belly and their arms and stuff, I might actually go with the same kind of green we put on his butt rag there, that malignant green. And that way they'll kind of stand out. Not quite yellowy, but almost that lemon lime kind of color. And they'll stand out. I'm hoping they'll look like two big giant boils. Like pustules that just grew into monsters or something like that. So that's the plan. We'll see if it's still the plan when I get there, or how well I execute it. Yeah, hands left camera there. Yeah. So I'm just trying to take some of this hard edge off of this wrist so they'll line up a bit smoother. And it's literally just kind of tapering it. And I'm just using a cheap nail file for that. A cheap disposable throwaway nail file. Now, I don't know. I think I'm gonna put this hand palm out. Kind of like that. I'm pretty sure it's an orc hand, so it's kind of clawy. But it should kind of blend with that nicely. Let's see if I can get that up there. Actually looks pretty damn good. And by damn good, I mean I'm happy with it. Really damn good would be his arm would be still there. I'm gonna clean this side up too, just so when I glue them, they'll be nice and happy together. I'm not gonna be gluing to primer. Oh, look at that, he still needs some primer there too. So it's a good thing we're doing this. This is exactly where we're gonna need to spray. Okay, so chucking along here. Okay. Perhaps a collaboration vid I'd carve with you to paint. See, I gotta stop myself from dropping the F-bombs. But yeah. I would love that, man. That'd be so cool. That would be badass. And I could flex, painting something other than plastic. I don't have as much experience with that, But I feel like that's where I'm learning from you, right? Is because I would just like I'm not going in with one of these and or one of these tiny brushes and painting a large large carving. That would be really tough. So I gotta learn. I gotta learn. I always gotta learn. That's half the fun of this is learning. A couple months ago, I had no idea how to edit a video, and now I've been having a lot of fun editing videos. All right, I think I'm kind of happy with this. How this is just snugging in. The bottom end is a little chunky, but no one's gonna see that. Maybe turn it a little in. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. There. One problem solved. Knock wood. I still have to glue the thing off. Going back to the Gorilla Glue. Add some paper here. I'll give 2 seconds to just see what's going on. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Painting bigger bottle pens. Yeah, bigger bottle would definitely be another thing. Not only just the little brushes, but our tiny Citadel paint pots. For their cost and amount of paint, yeah, that would be tough. I'd probably go with like some like apple barrel, maybe some cheap Walmart paint. Actually, something like this paint here. Ooh, on the camera. It's this one too. It's pretty cheap. You can get it at Walmart. It's not bad. I find it has a pretty chalky, like the matte paint almost has like that toothy, chalky finish. Yeah, man. The Nurgles are a very I guess I don't know. They're all about like the spread of rotten infection. I guess I don't know too much of the lore, but yeah, they all look like something that would come out of Dark Souls or like one of the castles in Bloodborne. Like this guy looks like he'd be coming at you heavy like an executioner. This guy looks like he'd be throwing some kind of glowing green shit at you. Yeah, the main bottle too would be a pretty dope boss. Stain tattooing, surprising, really? That sounds pretty cool. Now I know, I'm just curious, for all the viewers watching stuff, like, because I've never heard of using tattooing for wood. Does he, like, I'm guessing he doesn't use a tattoo gun, but does he just paint with it, or like that? You just kind of blew my mind there, man. That actually sounds really neat. I would never have thought to do that, but I guess, like, if it's kind of like ink, it might stain it. Okay, he paints it on. Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's still like the inkiness, though. I wonder what it would be, or how it would go to use like tattoo ink on a model. Now, I actually have a buddy, friend of mine. He's actually the guy who gave me the printers and showed me my first helped me out learning how to airbrush. I'll totally credit James for that, because I've never picked up an airbrush. But he does tattoos and tattoo art as well. But he also paints and prints miniatures. So I feel like he would be a good person to. I'll pick his brain about using tattoo ink for painting models. I feel like, I don't know, model paint is also expensive. Alright, I kind of slowly tuck this in as I'm going. Now, the back of it's kind of chunky. Let me just adjust so I can see what I'm doing here. There we go. The back's a little chunky there. I can sand that down. Front's kind of fisticuffy. There. You got a hand. And it went on rather clean. I say that. That's ugly. We'll fix that. I'm actually going to put just a little lump of glue there. Now, I don't know if this is a good idea to do with Gorilla Glue. But sometimes your super glue will soften the plastic. I could use acetone and just kind of like a little tiny bit. You can get the plastic soft and kind of like and mush it. Like turn it into, I think the term they use is sprue goo. Where you take some of your cut sprues and polystyrene, you put it into a jar with some acetone, and it melts down into like a gooey plastic, and you can use that. And it's kind of like the Tamiya putty, I think. Like, don't quote me, I haven't tried it myself. Like, I'll use Tamiya putty to fill the cracks. But apparently, that does work. So, maybe that's a learning video for me. We'll see. There's another dude, Miniature Hobbyist. He has a channel. And he does some pretty cool projects. Where he melts down sprues, just like same jar acetone, and fills it with bits and bits and bits of cut sprues, and like not even like bits, like usable bits, like just cut shredded plastic, and then melts it down and pours it into molds, and comes out with, you know, polystyrene models. It's pretty cool. Okay, so, oh, get off me there. There. I'll give that a sec, and then I might even come back in with a file and just taper that down. I'll just put him on his little perch there. So you've probably seen this a lot in all my videos and stuff. It's monster clay, so it's like a not a polymer clay, it's like an oil-based clay. So it never really dries out. It always stays kind of gooey. You can melt it almost into a liquid pretty much. But it's, and then at room temperature it's pretty firm. So it's a good tool to have. I like to use it for bases because it comes off pretty clean. And then it's, sometimes the oil from it will make, like if you bury a spot in clay and then take it out and then try to paint primer or spray paint it, there's a chance that the oils from the clay will be leaving residue on the model and then your paint won't stick. So sometimes if I'm sitting them like this and I'm like, that's just gonna get glued. But if I was worried about painting whatever's stuck there, I would probably scrub it before I went in and actually painted it. Or I'd leave that spot specifically so I could paint it last, or just hide it. That's the only downside for the polymer clay. Not polymer clay, oil-based clay. It's like plasticine. Like high-grade model plasticine. Yep. Water, always important. Say that every time for you and your paint. Whoop. Drop the saw. Let's tidy up just a little bit. And what else we do? Check in on okay. Okay, I can see, yeah, tattoo ink naturally, like, blending nicely. Like, you wouldn't have to, like, paint and then wet blend your paint. Like, your tattoo paints would just kind of, like, whoosh, or tattoo inks, rather, would just kind of, like, melt together. Yikes. Alright, showing stuff in here. Okay. So, how are we doing here? Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go over here for a sec. And I'm gonna take 2 seconds to get my airbrush ready. So I can hang out with these dudes right here. I'll put this guy up for whoop. Knock into the lights and get rid of the super glue. And give me 2 seconds whilst I get my airbrush. So I'm pretty sure you can still hear me from way back here. I hope. The reason why I put the paint, still kind of wet. The reason why I put the paint in the warm water is to get it less chunky and flaky. And I shake it up by hand because, well, we can put it on the mixer here. You can see it kind of move, like it's rumbling the hell out of it. It's a pretty big bottle for a mixer like this. Like the net content. So I'll just shake it up by hand anyway. You might get a bit of noise from the airbrush, the fan. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick little flip to here. So I'm going to take this camera for a second. Give myself some slack. Going to attach this piece to our camera. Hopefully we'll be all set for a nice view. We do. There we go. Over there. Yikes. No worries. Wipe that out of the way. And we'll go there. Excellent. So I'm going to start with these 2 little dudes. Jar. Should have thought of that first. No worries. Just grab a fresh one. found sometimes the spray paint is a little splattery, so that's why I use the warm water to try to get it to apply smoother, or a smoother application, I should say. Stumbling where I should put the warm back now. So you don't knock it over like a paint. Okay. Dispose that away. Oh yeah, safety first. Sure you got your mask, right? Yeah, safety first every time. You don't want to breathe this stuff in. I'm just gonna go over here now. Just gonna give my airbrush a little rinse first. It's a little dry in there. So I'm just gonna wet it up. I should be blowing it into the spot bucket and not the paper, but it doesn't really make a difference. The paper is just kind of there to test my paint before it hits the model. The gray does look a little flecky still, so we'll just try to be really careful with it. We'll go from a top angle and go real light. Same goes for the back. Really starting to spit. You can see little bits of dust. Just gonna clear that out. Go back to it. Nice and easy. There we go. Looking good, huh? More, just because we want that to be a little brighter. Turn that back up. Put him over here with this dude. And now I gotta go to the black. Kind of forgot that I needed to do this hand black. I have some black paint ready. But it's a little dried out. It's been sitting in this pot a while. So we're going to ditch this mask. Take a second to look at the comments and see how everyone's doing whilst I shake up this black paint. Bit of paint over the bottom. Sorry, I'm just getting caught up. Mix it with water. Okay, so blue chemicals. Okay. Bit of debate over bottom and top feed airbrushes. What pros and cons have I experienced? Okay. Let me do this for a sec. We'll go face cam. So bottom and top. I don't have a whole lot. Like my buddy let me use a top feeding cup when I first started learning. Sorry, I shouldn't have my hand. It's just like, yeah. So when I first started learning, there was a top cup, and that was pretty good, and it was pretty good for just switching colors quickly. Like you want a little white, you want a little bit of black, you want a little bit of gray, you want a bit of blue. You can kind of flip and flush your cup easy. Just a couple drops of paint, use what you want, water, rinse it out, few other drops, and it seemed to be good for using small amount of paints and switching through them. Um, the bottom feeding cup, it does, when you use the cup, it sits underneath and it kind of slops, and the siphon has to pull up from the bottom. And the siphon is a hole about yay big. Oh, yeah. But it's tiny, but it sits above the bottom of the cup. So you have to have enough paint to sit above the hole to feed into the siphon. And if you don't have, so you might need to be pouring in more paint into your cup than you actually need, and you'll be wasting a bit because you need that excess to fill up and pull up the siphon. Like if you don't even have enough to fill up the hose, then it'll just kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. You just have to kind of feel it, like you can notice once your cup or your jar is empty. That's actually why I like this. My first one was a bottom siphon, and that's why I started with it. But I like it because with the glass jars, like I don't even bother with the cup. If I know what I'm painting, I'll get the colors I need prepared in the glass jars first, and then I can just spray whatever I need, and then take out the jar, put it in a water jar, flush it, take out that jar, put in the next color, and then keep going, and then like water jar, next color, water jar, next color. And I don't have to mess around with the cup, but you do have to fill up your jars, and sometimes your jars dry out. So I don't know. I think for the sake of everyone, uses small amounts of paint to do a little bit here, a little bit there, a little green glow, a little glowing eyes. It makes sense for that gravity feed to just put like a little drop in, but I don't know. I kind of like having the glass feed in the jars in front of me too. It visually lets me see, so it's not a metal bowl. I can see inside the glass jar and go, that's the color I want. I don't really have to guess. Like you put like 2 drops of blue and a drop of red, and then what kind of purple am I gonna get? Pull the trigger and find out. It's a lot of guesswork. And if you can just mix them up in the jar and go, it needs more red, and then just mix it back up, I find that's a little easier. But it takes more prep work, and it probably eats up more paint. So I hope that answers your question about the 2 airbrushes. So size of the job can play a factor. Size of material. Yeah. Size of the job. Like if you're painting something large, like if I'm going to take my airbrush to a carving of USA 7s, then I don't want to be messing around with a little cup always have to fill. I want a big jar. Like in that case, you almost want a paint gun, so you can like whoosh. But using a little cup, you'll constantly have to fill it. Speaking about filling it, I think this is about mixing now, so kind of rambling on, but thank you for the question. I really don't think there is one better than the other, although it does seem to be the consensus that the top feeder gravity fed is preferred. I think there might also be a bandwagon thing to that. Like, when I first started, I was looking at like a Pash, I think it was a Badger, or like an Iwata, or like some of those really expensive airbrushes. And the dude was actually like, dude, like some of them, if you get them, you're gonna need their parts and their gear, and they'll work with their compressors the best. Like it just becomes a very large expense. And my airbrush was like, my first compressor and brush was like $89 at Walmart, or not Walmart, Canadian Tire. Mastercraft, oh yeah. So we're gonna clean up this guy's hand with some black and then put some gray on him. Okay. Let me make sure we're actually gonna get a good look at that first. Boom. Yeah, just go. Cleaner. This is a water and cleaner mitt. Flush it out like that. A little bit more water. Flush it out. Flush it back. And we wanted black paint, right? I said it was black paint? Yeah. Alright. There we go. You see they missed on that side too, so we're just gonna... Actually gonna do this a little bit of favor. Yeah, that'll look fine once we paint it. Perfect. Ooh, that's chunky. Okay, that's a little better. There we go. There. Okay, so there we got his hand done. Look at that. That looks pretty damn good. It's got a bit of a... You can tell he's holding something. Maybe I'll stick a blade to that. Maybe I'll file it down. Maybe I'll just paint it gold and it'll look like he's holding a gold nugget or something. I don't know. We'll figure that bridge out when we cross it. We'll let this dry for 2 seconds. I will check the comments. And we'll take a look at this guy. This is so... camera 2 will look better once we're back here. And we start actually dry brushing this guy. But yeah, he's already much more readable. Yeah, and this big chonker. Alright. We're still going to need the airbrush. I'm just going to flush it out so none of that paint dries on the needle or in the chamber. So you just kind of do the same thing. A little bit of water, a little bit of flush. Keep a little jar of water in the mix. Just go. Spill a bit on the floor. And just flush out. Airbrush. Boom, done. Okay, it's like by that time, this should be dry. Just about. 2 seconds, we're gonna check how all the peeps is doing. You could just be making a fist. Yeah, so it's, if you get a really good look of it, let me see. I don't know if I can get that camera. It does kind of look like he's just kind of making that like palm open fist, like he's, yeah, victory punch or something like that. I could probably get away with that. If I look at it, it's gonna, like, I'll see something under that claw, like just a little something. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe if I do that, it might take a little filing on that little tip, right? Let's see if you can see this. Ooh, I know. Take this. Right. Take this if I can figure it out. Like right on the edge of his hand where it's sticking out there, that little bite. Just take that little tip off. I could probably even nip that with a sprue cutter. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that right now. Oops. I did it. It's done now. He's making a fist. Good call. Less work. Oh, I just cleaned the thing though. Now I gotta paint it black. But it's one of those things that when you're painting, even if no one sees it, I'll know it's there. I think that's half of when we're painting. Because no one really picks it up and like, oh wow, oh, like, people usually, at the most, they'll look at it from a foot away from your face. And, you know, it's a lot of small, tiny details like that will, you know, be hidden, especially once they're painted. But, like, the person who paints it will know. Or just my personal pickiness than actually doing a seriously awesome job. I'm sure it does matter when you're doing a really high-level paint job. To be fair, I don't know if I'm capable of doing a really, really high-level paint job. I just do good stuff and I'm happy with it. Well, most importantly, I'm having fun while I do it, and that's what matters. I think the second you stop having fun, and start getting rolling down that overly elite path, you kind of, like, once you're not having fun, you're taking it way too seriously. It kind of defeats the purpose. Isn't that the whole point? Alright. So these guys are dry. Take a little look at this dude. You see that peso guy? Kind of looks almost like a dragon. But with like kind of like a... I'm gonna say they look kind of like fungal tendrils. Oh, they're pretty cool. But yeah, this guy was just a peach to put together and clean. I'll tell you that. It is no push fit. So, but I think it'll be pretty cool to stuff up here. Ooh, get over here, big boy. Like on this little spot here, that's where I would be considering landing him. Just kind of nestle him into that fold. Maybe even take whatever this tuft is, and then use some milliput, put a little milliput wormy over it, and then texture it up so he kind of looks like he's lumped into the skin here. I don't know. Kind of looks cool. Whoa! Yep. But it will be tricky to put together. Like, I'm kind of stumped because these two pieces, as much as they're supposed to fit together, they do not fit together nicely. Like, they're going to need some serious filler. And he's got this thing that goes inside. It kind of looks like that. Little arm. Oh, that fell off. Whatever, no worries. Okay, this guy's just about dry. I'll go see if I can couple a better view on the side view of his hand. Get over your chair. Oh no, that's a little dark. Once you come out of that light box, it's like great. Shut that off for a sec. that's a little better. Once we get that gray primer on them, it'll be better. All right, party on, Lane. Party on, Garth. All right, we're gonna hit this guy with some gray. He's so nice, relatively smooth. I shouldn't have to go through the whole process of smoothing it out again. It is a little flaky, I'm seeing that. I think we're done with the airbrush. So yeah, like I was saying, sometimes I would, for a little gray puff like that, I kind of forgot to put my mask on. But I do have my vent that's suctioning and siphoning here. I'll actually give you a little look-see. So that is a bathroom fan. That is a Tupperware container. That's a 4-inch hose, little clamp there, and it runs to my floor, pretty much. This is like I could run it out that window, but essentially it just runs through the floor there, and all the overspray collects in the pipe and on this filter. Now the filter, you can see, that's just pretty faint, but I'll show you what happens to it after a long painting section. It looks like that. So when you're airbrushing, here, I'm just going to come flip here because we're going to get a better look at this. So when you're airbrushing at your desk, if you're not using any kind of vent, suction, or filter, you're just spraying at your desk, all this is going to like dust over your desk, and in time, your desk is going to look like the inside of my airbrush. So use the filters. Or a mask, maybe both, if you're painting for a long time. And I don't use rattle cans. I don't use any kind of solvent in this booth. The harshest thing I'll use is varnish, just like matte varnish or gloss, but no solvent, like no rattle cans. I have water miscible oils, but I would not run them through there. I just pretty much use whatever's designated for airbrushing and acrylic paints. Maybe like, I mix up some water in some apple barrel and blast it through. But I wouldn't take like anything I wasn't sure of. Let's take a little peek here. Before going too far into the paint now. Yeah, that's one thing. Like, it is smarter to get all your bits and your changes and your conversions on before you prime it. Sometimes, in the video I just did, actually, I did a video with the 40K biker, and I added on, there's like a shovel, a canteen, a satchel, a helmet, a gun, there's a bunch of stuff. And I added all that on afterwards. So I did a freehand little emblem on the side of the bike, and then I act like, because they're all separate, I just painted the shovel up and then glued it on, and painted the canteen and glued it on. So you can get away with doing mods after. Sometimes mods afterwards are easier. Sometimes it is much easier to do it beforehand. If I put a sword in this guy's hand, I'm literally going to cut it off right at the base of the blade and just, glue a chunky silver blade to that square. So I won't be too worried about, like, if I wanted to go through real pain, I would drill out his hand and then put something in there and try to make it look like he's actually holding it. But I wouldn't even bother going that far. I'll just glue a blade to his hand, pretty much. Party hardcore. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I gotta make the reference. That kind of dates my age, though. Sure. Freehand video is a nice release. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing the freehand video. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was, that one was a lot of fun. It's just me messing around at the table, right? I like the free bird. Oh, man. That one was, recording my voice for that felt embarrassing as I was editing it. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed, man. It's Mike Myers. Not to be confused with Mike Myers. Alright, well, I let my paint in this thing dry on the needle again, but we're done with it anyway, so I'm not too worried. But I am going to give it a little bit of a flush, just to save myself some pain in the butt later. That should be good. Win. Okay, so let me take 2 seconds to get this camera back. It's a lot easier with a long cord. Last time I had it on a bit of a short leash. Now I can take this thing on tour. So put on a little traveling tripod. Boom. And we should be good. There we are. So we'll start with these 2 little goony duties. Hold on, let me get this camera so it's not going to bail on me here. Whoop. Get this grumpy bum out of the way. Scooch my butt in here. You come with me. Ooh. Have a snack. Oh, there goes my snacks. Ritz peanut butter sandwich. We're in for the long haul. So, just gonna use a dry palette. And these guys are pretty small. That guy's got a pretty big belly. That will spread. So we're gonna use. Yeah, we got the makeup brushes here. Hold on. There we go. Get out of here, you. So we got these bad boys. And we're going to be using these three on my smaller side. This guy's a little wide and floofy. These guys are narrow and very floofy. These guys will be good for doing the face inside that guy's hood and those smaller details. This one will be good for using the belly. My alternative pick would be this one for the belly. But we'll see. I'll go with these three for now. I'm debating. I'm thinking I'm gonna do it. Bring on the hate. We'll use some Korax white. Yeah, just to, you heard me right. This stuff. This chalk. We'll use chalk. Liquid chalk to prime these things. Honestly, I kind of like Korax white. It's an off-white. It's like a hint of grayish. It gives you a little room to pop even more with a pure white, but it's almost like a medium between the gray and the white. But it's pretty good. But yeah, it is chunky as shit. Yeah, chunky shit. Not even gonna censor that. It's shit. But it's what we're using. It's the shit we're using. Alrighty, so let me tune back in. Everyone's tuned into me. Let me tune into you guys. Which rider are you gonna use? Best use for bird. Oh. Any thoughts? Well, drinking bourbon is good, but there's other bourbons you don't want to drink. There's, if we can refer back to the joke, actually goes way farther back than the Sarlacc pit for the bourbon butthole, but I don't know. Maybe some bourbon soap for the butthole? Some bourbon butthole? Yeah, that joke has history. You know, for the new viewers, you'll have to be watching and learning a long time for that one. I know. To bring people up to speed, Uza7 is a personal friend of mine, and the bourbon butthole thing is actually an inside joke. So now it's more like the whole world's inside on it, but oh man, that's the origins of bourbon butthole. Yeah, I do like drinking bourbon. Yeah, so the origin was actually I don't know, it was a Bath and Body Works. Yeah, it was a soap I got in a Christmas stocking one year. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wash my ass with some bourbon, and hence from there, bourbon butthole was born. My wife's over there shaking her head at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? If only you knew this day would come, you would not have picked that soap in my stocking. Alright, I'm hoping you guys can have a good view of what's going on here. gonna move this thing because I feel like this, as he's getting brighter and brighter white, we're losing view of him. So I'm just kind of get in there with his face. We'll get a little closer on his belly here. Because that's one of the things I was talking about, was getting some of the white on that belly. Alright, I should probably check in on the comments section. I don't know if I started a riot or not with my last little story. If I'm still broadcasting, it means, you know, YouTube was okay with it. It's looking a little better. You start seeing his face in there, eh? Yeah. I'm just gonna kind of dust this up a bit. So get this leg polished up a little. There we go. Want that knee nice and bright. Maybe those two little folds too. I would beat the hell out of him here. Yeah, 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 yeah. As Bob Ross would joke, it's more fun than fighting with your spouse. Oh, I love that dude. That was a treasure. Yeah, I guess I'll be in for some fun tonight, I guess, after all that talking about all the butthole soap. Yeah, just to confirm, this is not a children-related show. I don't have the, you know, censor board on me, but we'll just say it's not for kids. But if you're a kid tuned in, you know, I'm not going to bother saying earmuffs. You can hear what you like. It's your parents' responsibility to keep you off adult shows. I don't even think this is that bad. It is hard to censor your curses live. It's much easier with a little clipboard when you're editing. Yeah, it's popping out pretty good. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna check the board here. Oh, dude, I would have a drink with you too. I don't know what the YouTube policies are on me, you know, consuming drugs and alcohol live, but you know, in spirit, there's that water's imagine that water's you know, one for the homies. Ooh, that's way too bright. So that's kind of why I use my hand when I do this, because I like to gauge how much paint is going to get left behind by my brush. In this instance, it might be a little more than I wanted, but we'll kind of use that just a bit. There we go. Use that high point, we'll drag it upwards instead of downwards, and then we'll go downwards on it. Smooth back over. Really light touch. That's one of the other things you kind of gotta keep in mind is you can get away with having more of a loaded brush with one of these makeup brushes as long as you have a very gentle touch with it. And the second you really start slapping it a bit harder, you start leaving more. And leave. Slap the top of his head a bit. You can see that just buffed right up. Like the skulls, I don't want to go too loud. So a little bit on this end. Drag this up. There. Remember what this guy looked like when he started? He just looked like a little blacked out blob. And you see the back's nice and gray. We can give that a little dousing too. I'm just gonna give that a little tap. A little tap and wipe. Kind of feel the stickiness on the tongue. And we'll go right back to the side. I think I'm starting on the high points for the sake of when the paint's fresher, it's gonna leave more, and if it leaves more, it's gonna be brighter and whiter. So I want that brighter and whiter to sit high up on the model, kind of like he's being draped in light. If I did this heavy white from the bottom and then let the sort of paint leave my brush and kind of wisped the top of it with a, just sort of enhancing the gray rather than punching white, it'll look like the light's coming up from them rather than down, which can be useful, but not what we're going with. I'm just slapping up his staff. He's got a little tentacle there. There's jokes to be had. Now, do you make the, I don't know, where's the crow's foot? Is that a crow's foot? It looks like some kind of bird foot. I'm not sure. Again, reload just a little bit. And keep going. You paint with light source direction in mind? I'm not there yet. So I don't often do OSL, like an object light source. I kind of just like to think all my minis, like most things, when you put them out on the table or throw out on the battlefield, like most scenarios that we see, light outside comes from above. Like the sun shines down on us all, right? So I find there's very seldom need to like pop glow up from the feet, or maybe not from the feet, but like if I'm trying to think of something I might have done that has a bit of a glowing source. I did an homage to The Fly, like the 80s one with Jeff Goldblum, and I did a teleporter that had kind of like a green OSL glowing light effect from the inside glowing out. Like I wanted the vents and the hatches and everything to look like they were glowing green, but I also put a light inside it, which kind of like both enhanced and cheated the effect to make it not really OSL, but like light that was enhancing the green paint to really pop green. So it's more like I actually made an OSL rather than painted an OSL. It's just like, oh, this is too hard. I'm actually going to put a light bulb in there. Give myself a damn light source. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Man, it's if you watch some of I kind of binge Bob Ross sometimes, and some of the stuff he talks about, like he hides some of it, but like there's some times where he's talking and it's like, man, it's like I can feel under that happy layer of artistry, like there is something really pissed off. Like he's talking about spending his time with his uncle in Alaska, his favorite uncle, Uncle Sam. And the way Uncle Sam asks you to go to Alaska is, he tells you you're going to Alaska, and you serve your time there for your country. But like, yeah, he didn't say. Like, I'm sure that man has a soul, has a soul. The soul's still out there. That could see the, like, you're going to Alaska in the middle of nowhere, bud. And he'd be like, nah. He'd find goodness in it. That he just seemed to be that type of person. But oh man, when he talks about it, sometimes he kind of hints that, like, wasn't his first choice. Yeah, I haven't seen that Netflix one either. I just kind of watch a lot. I have to show it. Sounds serious. Yeah, I should share it. Personal piece for competition, the flight transporter. That was for a competition. My local hobby store, Addictive Hobbies and Games, and it was a Halloween competition. It was we actually had like a little over a month to work on it, maybe 2 months. Can't remember what was the timeline on that one. Yeah, maybe like 6 weeks. But I pretty much raided the used mini cabinet, and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do for the competition. Like that day, I was like, I had a few ideas, and The Fly is one of, like, I watched it as a kid, and the scene where he like loses his fingernails and he's pulling out his teeth and he's like degrading as a human being and becoming the Fly, like that just shook me. So I always thought that was a great movie, and I was gonna talk about it like, oh, it's not really Halloween-y, but it is, sci-fi and a classic horror movie. And then when I went into the store and saw everything in the used mini cabinet, it was practically laid out for me. All the parts were there. And it's just like, all right, I'll take these. Put the part. You got me thinking though. I should present that one. I am really proud of that one. I'll put a short together or something for you guys. I don't want to just be like, here it is. That one's special. That one needs a little something grand. Or at least a decent piece on its own. Okay, so our nerdly guy's looking pretty good. I gotta squeeze into this face here. I might be able to just rough him up like that and get it. But this is why we got this little tiny guy, right? This one's just gonna go boop, boop, boop. Do a couple little touches right there where I want it. Yes. 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 There we go. Can we see that face okay? Hold on. It's a little camera flip here. Oh, he's a little twisted. I wonder if I can... Hold on, guys. Let's see if I can't do something here. Alright, give me 2 seconds. Let's see if I can get this zoom. Oh, too much. Too much. Let me know in the comments if that helped visually zoom in at all. Oh. Boom. There we go. Yeah, I kind of just had to fudge that for a sec. Like, is that clearer on the zoom? Set that guy aside there. And I'll actually have to open the comments to see. Spit up, yeah. Very Bloodborne feel. Yeah, the fiery skulls and the bell on the staff. I think that's also the very like when you hear the bell in that game, you're like, God damn. Okay, cool. Face pops. Looks good. Okay. Alright. Skill point upgrade. Figured out a digital zoom where there is no zoom, but I can like and stretch it out to make it work. Find a good focus point. So this guy's looking pretty good. I still think we're gonna. I don't know about the robes. Maybe robe. When I think robes, I think like purple regal robes. And now I'm kind of second guessing my malignant green. Because if I do malignant green skin, then I probably shouldn't do malignant green robes. And when I'm thinking about this guy's butt rag right here, I'm thinking about that. That's the malignant green. And I think absolution green. And I'm thinking I would like to match his butt robes to this guy's robes. So maybe I'll find a different skin for this guy. Maybe I'll do him like a really, really pinkly pale. Or a really, really pale blue. Like take all the warmth out of it so it kind of pops off that guy. Because I don't want to do him the same kind of sort of fleshy colors that I did the big dude. I don't want him to get lost into it. I want him to stand out. So we'll think about that. But now I'm thinking the malignant green should go on his robes. Alright. So we got this guy, and his hand looks pretty good. If we look at the back here, it's kind of bumpy there, but it was kind of... I used the glue trick and kind of just smushed it. And it seemed to do okay. Ish. It's good enough. That's what I'm going with. It's good enough. When we hit it with the paint, we can hide everything else. What I really wanted was to make sure that profile of the wrist and this profile of the wrist were clean. Like this back end, no one's really gonna see him back up on top of the Glottkin. So should be okay. Looks like he has a rather similar belly, just smaller, but he's got those webby skins and stuff. Same dealio. Alright, we may not even need this brush. The other one seemed to go pretty well, so we're just going to keep going with that in the Corax. That's a lot more than I need. Scrape a little off. Okay. Once again, we're going to start at the top here. Oop. Start at the very top. So go up. Ooh, that's springy. See, I don't want to slap this too hard because I'm going to break that off. Just gently graze it. There you go. There you go. Now we can drag that down a bit. Buff that up a little. And catch it on the fingers there in his arm. You see it's starting to come to life. Not gonna lie, I think this is one of my favorite parts of the painting process. is just this nice prime. I find this is what really makes your model immediately come to life. Well, I guess building them is one thing, but I find once you get that solid contrast, there's a level of like the detail pops, and then you can really enjoy what you're seeing or attempting. So we're just gonna keep going with this. Get all those wrinkles. I guess to kind of go back to that other question before about do I consider OSL, if one was to consider, you know, light in the sky a source, then yeah. Oops. Because for a dude like this, see how he's got these belly wrinkles? And this wrinkle sits on top of that wrinkle, and it's like folds. Now, if I was to go... Now, the makeup brushes are kind of like a cheat code. So if I was to try to do all these details with... Let's say I took this big brush, overloaded it, and went this way, and went upwards. What I'll end up doing is I'll end up putting, instead of putting the highlights on top of these folds, I would put it like in this crevice here, and in this I would almost make it look like the folds are glowing, which just wouldn't look right. And I don't mean like that ain't right. I mean like visibly our eyeball would go, that's not where the light would land. So I guess, yeah, I try to tend to go top to bottom. That's where I put most of my force, and call it the slap chop. Like that's where I'm putting most of the slap and chop into like the downward stroke, and the up one just kind of like floofs and then slap again. So I will do like that going back ways, but like I am putting more force down that way and then kind of resetting. So I'm going up there, but as I say, it's like going up. This is where the light's gonna bounce. Like if these are sharp metal horns, the light's gonna bounce off that round part. So I'm just kind of going up. I could go down. The idea is I'm just hitting the curve. So like this part here, I'm gonna hit this shelf. It's going to skip this inside crevice, and then it's going to pick up somewhere on his lower, like his tricep. So if I just keep doing that, see my drag up, I'm hitting that like the bottom of his bicep there, but the bulk of my slap and chop is landing on that piece of armor where it's depositing that brightest point of paint. And like honestly, it's especially with the makeup brushes, it is such an easy strategy of painting. Like I'm willing to bet anyone who's never painted a mini before who thinks I could never do that kind of art. Like if you have the right tools for the right job, it would not take you too long to figure this out. The hardest part of it is kind of dialing how much paint do I paint on my hand and how much paint do I paint on my model. And it almost seems the answer is equal amounts. So this guy, I'm going to go upwards from the ground. Just because, like, I want to get that skull. There's a skull on his leg that looks pretty damn cool. I want to make sure I get it. So if I was going downwards, I would miss it. Because I would hit his like, skin fold and go boop. And hit somewhere down here. Or at least with this brush and the bristles that the way they're going. So I'm just going to slap around here because I really want that skull to just pop on his knee. We'll add a little more this way. Some shiny boots. I usually like a nice dirty muddy boot, but we have a nice shiny boot too. Alright, coming along. I guess I'll get all his apron, his loincloth. Okay, paint's a little thick. It's leaving it a little bright, see? Now that's my mistake. The fact that I'm still going and not painting it on my hand is still my mistake. I'm gonna own up to it here. But it shouldn't be that bad. And buff that a little. Oops. Okay, he's sliding on the clay. So that is one of the bummers about the clay, is sometimes when you're working on it for a long time, it'll get soft from the heat of your hands. And when that happens, the model might move around a bit, and you kind of have to reset it now and then. Okay, well, we reset it and find our next approach. I'm going to take a quick peek at the comments, see what's going on. Oops. The slap and floof. I like it, man. Nope. No, it's floof. Yeah, I like floof better. I like floof. Oh man, that put a smile on my face, dude. Oh, that will be the dream. Like one day, time from now, I'll be in a hobby painting store competition or something in the hobby and just hear people go, "Yeah, I used the slap floof." Fuck, that would make me so happy. Oh man. Yeah, you need the floofy brush. Makes all the difference. So, you know what? I should do a video comparing, like, sorry, it's flopping out here. So, like, using these, you know, get over here, you. These kind of square-ended, you know, the one size fits all, you get it in a box, flathead dry brush versus like, and I would go out and maybe even get a new set from the dollar store and film getting it like $4 for a pack of makeup brushes, and then seeing or showing how much better a $4 set of makeup brushes would work over, I don't know, a Vallejo square head dry brush. Like this is Quo, Quo, and I guarantee you. Okay, you could probably get them from the like the Shoppers Drug Mart. I'm willing to bet something alike, like that isn't Quo, but you know, a generic makeup brush from Dollarama. If you're Canadian, probably know Dollarama. Or if you watch other YouTubers that are from Canada, because I think that's like one of our go-to hobby haunts. starting to see things on this guy I didn't even notice before. He's got this tentacle sticking out of his chainmail. That's pretty cool. Down there by his leg. I think, what am I going to do with that? I guess we're just going to drag this up and down, up and down. Get all those details. See how glaringly obvious my hand repair is after we do this. Oh, there goes my ghost air compressor, because I forgot to turn it off. So I'm guessing it kind of lets air out or condenses. It's a cheap Mastercraft one, so I'm guessing it kind of bleeds air over time. But like for real, it was $89.99 for an airbrush compressor and the airbrush. And that was the airbrush I used to paint Severith. So like, you can do awesome things with even a cheap airbrush. You know, if you're thinking about getting an airbrush or getting into airbrushing, you don't need like the really expensive stuff. I know a compressor with a regulator would be really cool, like so I could gauge how much air I'm throwing. Like if I could just have a little puff versus that thing, I think projects, I believe it's 40 psi or per cubic. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's 40 psi or I don't know, per measurement, or I don't know. It's not that much, but the pressure's solid, and you can get a regulator, but I've never felt that I've never felt the need for one. Like I've never felt like, oh man, I just have way too much paint flying out of this thing, or it's way too much pressure. If I really need to adjust it, oh, I'm off. If I really need to adjust it, I can, you know, just use the end screw and throw less paint out of it. I'm sure there's, you know, as you develop skill and familiarity with better techniques with the airbrush, you can probably prove everything I just said wrong. But I think I have maybe a year with that airbrush now. Like I've had it about a year. And I freaking love it. It's pretty much replaced all the rattle cans. Overhyped in the community. Yeah, I shouldn't say. There's some things that are overhyped, some things aren't. Some things that you get, you don't need. Like in all my videos, I have a bunch of these things. Oh, let me make sure I'm on the right feed here. Yeah, I got a bunch of these Citadel hand cradles, and I do like painting with them. So when I'm just sitting on my own and painting, I will use them. They're nice. I find they're a nice grip. But like the priming bow and arrow, the thing that's like prime 10 at once, I can't even fit one of those in my airbrush booth, so I don't really see the point to them. You know, drop 10 at once. But yeah, some things are good, some things are bad, or overpriced, I should say, not bad. Now, I've never actually handled an Iowata or a Pash or a Grex or any of those airbrushes that would put you back a couple $100 just for the gun. So, I couldn't tell you. Like, maybe I pick up an Iowata one day and go, oh my god, what was I thinking? This other thing sucks. But, like, I've used my buddy's gravity fed. I can't remember what brand it was. I have a Master S622 and a master craft, and they all pretty much feel more or less the same. I actually like my bottom siphon the most because of the quick swaps and the weight. Although one of the top feeds that my buddy had a removable cup, and as you're like, instead of having to flush and guess, you could unscrew the cup, dump it, and it literally fit these water bottles perfectly. So instead of a squeezy bottle, I could just take this thing and go think, and then flush it out and then take it off. It was actually a really nice quick swap for a top feed. That was cool. If I did get another airbrush, I would probably get a top feed just for the diversity. You know, I keep getting more of the same. Gotta experiment and try new stuff. Yeah, I find out some people they kind of look at the grayscale and the contrast and go, oh, that's going to be so hard to achieve. And it really isn't. It's probably one of like the easiest illusions in mini painting, is just going from black to this nice monochromatic primer. Yeah, and it's way easier than we think. Sometimes you don't even really need to do this brushing. Like, I could probably get away with, you know, a 3-way airbrush, start black, then hit gray, and then just from the bird's eye, pure top-down angle, hit it with white, and, like, don't move the white around, just one straight-on head from the top. Psh, maybe give it 2, psh, psh, something like that. But then you don't really need this. I kind of like this because you can selectively push your brightness up anyway. Like, if I was to use the white airbrush, I would probably go back in with this brush anyway and do the exact same thing. So why give myself that redundant step? Try things out. Yeah, so that's kind of basically it. Like, this is, I know anyone watching that's seen my videos will get if they know I'm not sponsored. You know, it's, the channel's still really small, and you know, I gotta do things. I gotta be mindful of a budget because you know, I'm not monetized. I don't make money with this, so doing things on a budget is probably one of the most important things, because you know, every investment we make is, you know, another step deeper in the hobby. Like, if I looked on my shelf, I don't know. It's like, wow, that's a lot of value in plastic just kind of sitting there. So ways that we can save on, you know, spending less on tools and materials and things like that, and still having the same results to put on our shelf is nice. Because then we can spend more money on models or other stuff. But then, yeah, you're not spending, you're not breaking the bank on trying to keep your kit up to par. Like, I believe my last one was the t-shirt backdrops. I'll actually give a shout out to Tyler Paulson for the taking better photos suggestion, and that came from our last live stream, actually. And I was like, oh, I'll take a note of that. I thought, how can I do a quick little piece of it to just slam into that video. So I went with the t-shirt backdrop. So that's like just a quick way you can get a fast, you just drape a shirt or a dish rag, something that's like a black, a white, a towel, some kind of sheet. Just throw it over your desk and behind your model and do a quick snap, and that it'll kind of bounce the light. Like a nice black matte towel or something will absorb the light, and you'll get kind of less ambient glare, and your model will pop more. But yeah, I was thinking I might compose a video of like tips and tricks for photos. So my first photos were taken on like I had a huge, like long sheet that was tacked up to the wall and then drawn out so it made like a big swooping curve, and then had the lights kind of draped upon that, but cutting the lights on the back so it didn't illuminate the curve. So that way it kind of looks like it sits in a black infinity, and you can pull that off without needing a photo booth or anything like that. Yeah, no, like I said, I do plan on making a better full length of it, but I'll just have to, figure out the script and how I'm gonna present it all. That's kind of the challenge to this, is how am I gonna put things together and make them fun. I think maybe I'm just insecure and be like, I don't know if they think I'm a good painter. I better be fun. Better make it goddamn enjoyable if I suck. That's just my own insecurities haunting me. And I think we all have those lurking around our hobby tables. And that's what the sharing part is all about. Then it kind of helps you realize there's no monster under the bed. There's no harm in sharing. And the majority of the community is like really supportive, barring like the odd grumpy gatekeeper. Everyone just wants to see the art, share the art, and put your best foot forward. And you will never be admonished or punished for your efforts, because you're putting in the effort, right? Alright, I kind of like slid back there. This is what I'm talking about. I need that damn shock collar. I need that buzzer. Gotta hand out my phone number so people can call me and be like, dude, your shit left camera. Yeah, it just kind of slinks away quietly backwards. Yes. Yeah, photography is another thing that I really had no idea what I was doing. I took like a high school photography class, and that was, the most of it. And that was with like an actual, like a film camera, not digital. So it was like darkroom stuff that you don't even bother with now, to be quite honest. Stuff that would be like vintage skills, developing your film in a dark room. Alright, so we got our two dudes done. They're looking pretty damn good. We'll call them Tweedledee and Tweedledum. So I got Tweedledee and Tweedledum looking pretty sharp here. Okay, now we can get a decent look at his hand. Yeah, he's still got a little bit of a chewy bit there. And the back of his wrist there is a little, you can kind of see it's a little lumpy. A little lumpy on that transition. I think that's where the orc's like leather gauntlet, like this crappy little piece right here. I think that's where the orc's leather gauntlet ended. And I think I probably could have shaved a little higher up the back of the hand. But, like from here, that looks fine. Ain't no one gonna notice. Except for everyone who watched this. Then they'd be like, oh man, you screwed that hand up. Yeah, this guy. This guy's next. Now, my concern with this thing is that he's a son of a bitch to put together. Like, I was being sugarcoaty, but he was a son of a bitch. So, yeah, he's Tamiya puttied there. He's Tamiya puttied in there. He's got a little bit under his head here. But his head went on pretty clean. That was probably the cleanest attachment. And it's supposed to go. Let's see if I can. Come on, you bastard. There it is. It's supposed to go like that. Now, yeah, you can see that's a glaringly obvious joint there. Like, it doesn't fit very well. Like, that'll take more of the melting trick, I think. I think we'll only get away with a clean seamless mount here with the melting trick. Oh, yikes. So, and the other piece is this. So, I think I may have mentioned it before. These pieces don't like to shake hands very well. And they don't sit nicely flat. Like, if I just press everything flat and try to like, nope. So, if I glue all this on the Glottkin, I'm almost thinking I should use this round joint to my advantage and like, taper it with however he ends up sitting down. And as I'm thinking that, I'm still going to be limited to what this arm attaches to. And his hand. Or his Fushi hand and his wrist. So, I'm almost thinking maybe I do just straight up build it. Get that arm and that bottom tail kind of locked in to their position. And then wherever I put them on the Glottkin, maybe I just make like a little milliput worm and kind of blister it in. Yeah, it's an ugly edge. Okay, so yeah, I think maybe we put it together and then figure it out after. That's the smarter way to do it, I think. I hope. Yeah, we'll go every cam. Oh. Hold on. Let me fix this. Not that. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix my screen here. There we go. Boom. Move him to the side. And I think we'll try to glue this little dude together. I'm seeing a way I can make these fit. And if he's off square, like if he doesn't sit flat, I'll just build up the ground under him. I think that'll be much more preferable than trying to, like, because he's got all these little scales and stuff. Trying to fill that gap and then make those scales seem seamless. I'm not that good. I'm not that good, so we're gonna angle it up and smush it like that. Split the D, but he's gonna kind of sit kind of like wing. He's gonna be a little winged, and we can just build the ground up under him. Hopefully it won't even be that noticeable. Talking about this, oh, no one's gonna notice, and you know, this massive population of like 4 people are gonna see it. I guess they get picked up afterwards, so I always kind of think to myself, oh, what if there's no one here? What if no one watches? But like, people in the world watch. And I think it seems that there's a bit of a desire for, you know, just having someone hanging out to paint with. Like, I was kind of surprised to see that there's people who would watch the live streams, you know, after they're posted, like after they went live retrospectively, and like I can see the interest and enjoyment in that. Like I've done it, you know. It's like, oh, I missed that stream. Well, I want to see what they're doing. But I'm just kind of surprised and taken aback that, you know, people have that much of an interest in what I'm doing. Quite flattered. This is where I plug the appreciation plug of thank you, everyone. For everyone watching, for everyone tuning in, for everyone live with me right now. You know, my heart, I love you guys. Thank you so much. Alright, moment of truth. I'm gonna move this thing so I don't glue my fucking hand again. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm a bit of a menace around this table. Now we wait. I would flip right now to my comment section and see what everyone's saying, but can't move my hands right now. I'm wishing you all well and good things. I'll get to you in a second. Okay. There, this is where we go. Ding! It worked. I think. But yeah, see how like up that is? Oh, that is ugly. That's a little ugly. Let's give it a little twist and smush it back in. Damn. Oh, you know what? Operation Melty Plastic's alright. You just kind of put a little pressure on that glue. Ooh, didn't like that though. I like that one. There we go. Okay, yeah. That was my own dumb fault for giving it a little too much pressure. And trying to convince it to twist in a way it did not want to. Now we're back to the holding game. Should hold well enough. There we go. That looks all right. Now we're gonna have to get that elbow and arm in here. And this is the one I was kind of like, it just sits weird. And it's got some funky notches, and the whole fine cast thing is like the mold lines kind of pour into the model. So instead of having like a clean sprue to snip, it actually almost like runs into the model, and you have to like cut it and then file it off. Alright. Now before I get gluing that next part, we're gonna check the chat here. I've got a couple of names. Okay, cool. No worries, bud. Well, I wish you luck, dude. I'm guessing you're playing hockey tonight? If you're playing, you know, kick some ass and good luck. And if you're just going to watch and enjoy a hockey game, you know, enjoy, dude. But thanks for tuning in, man. I do appreciate it. It means a lot. It really, really does. Especially live. So I'm just kind of getting back to the... yeah, the two little dudes fit on the Glottkin, but I don't know if I would have room to fit all three of them. I think my choices are like the two troops or the... I'm going to call him a booger dragon. I think he's a Magotkin or a classic beast of Nurgle. But he does kind of just look like a big slimy booger head. So I'm going with that. Okay, cool. Man, playing in nets, that's a tough position, dude. You know, I feel like anyone playing in goal, you know, they get utmost respect, dude. You know, goalie it's a high pressure position. It's a lot rides on it. And like shit, you're getting fired on. So good luck, man. I hope you come out clean and safe. And have a great game. Okay, I'm gonna try to get this hand on without too much destruction. Oh, I think I got it. First shot. Woo. I'm gonna try to sneak some glue into that bottom section because I don't trust this entirely. I'm not gonna lie, that came together. I was really fretting getting that elbow and hand lined up, and I kind of just popped in as it wanted. Almost like I knew what I was doing. Okay, yeah, that sounds a little less high pressure. Still fun though. Probably, I would consider it more fun. I'm not a high pressure competitor. That or I'm like too high pressure competitor, so I choose not to compete. Something like that. I don't know. I feel like for the longest time, you know, painting competitions are like the only thing I actually compete in. All right, what time are we at? 9:14. Going over well, 2 hours now. Okay. So now we can fight with this thing and try to figure out how its head attaches. Because this was... There we go. I think I figured that out. That is not very clean. That's what it's going to look like. Let's see. Just make sure I'm getting good shot here. Yeah, kind of slimy booger beast. Gonna be from here. Yeah. Oops. Whoop. Yep. Drop him right in super glue. Friggin' menace. Oh, yep. Glue all over the hands too, right? Goop. Okay, so where are we at now? I'm gonna get a... Yeah, we'll put the head on this guy as well. I might have to clean this up a little. I'm gonna give it a little spray. Just because it's already not the cleanest, so anything I can do to make it become snot great. It's not the magic dragon. Just kind of reaming out this little piece here. And it's weird, there's like a little notch there, but there wasn't a notch here. It was just kind of like a sprue line horizontally across it. So I'm just gonna try to wear it down a little. So just kind of clearing this out. Okay, not bad. A little better than I anticipated anyway. Yeah, having a balance with the hobby is pretty good. Sometimes the hours in these little creations kind of, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't know, you look at a little painting and think, ah, that won't take too long, and you don't realize that some of these things are, like, I don't think I have a piece that I've put, I'm trying to think, the most hours I've put into a piece. I would say it'd probably be the fly, my fly piece. I don't even know how many hours I put in that. It was a lot. Okay, so we'll glue this head on. We'll figure that out. Need a little touch more glue. But I think it's clean to the point where I'm going to be as happy as I can be with that joint. And I don't think the amount of Tamiya putty will save that. I might paint it with a little bit of cyanoacrylate and see if that softens it. When I say paint it, I mean it's a bottle of glue with a brush. The brush tip applicator. It's the nail glue. Ba-ba. Okay. What's my cutoff point here? Make sure I don't glue myself. I'm just gonna give this a light brush on some of the bits and edges. And I'm hoping that's gonna soften up some of those edges. So when I put them together, it'll kind of like, and like just give me a little bit of a smush, and some of that call it homemade sprue goo goop from the plastic will smush up through those cracks. Smush up and out. The other thing too is you can do this with it, like now that they're pressed together and I knocked over my glue, and check, and they're not going to stick because this stuff's takes a little longer to dry. But I can see where it's wet on this side now from where it touched. I can see the dry spots most apparently that tell me where there's no glue touching at all. So you can see there's just a little bit of lick of glue on the top of that and a little bit down here at the bottom of that notch. So there's just glue on the top and the bottom of the notch, even though I painted everywhere here. So that's telling me that the contact between these 2 points, like where these two guys go and line up, there's a lot of gaps in there. There's maybe those 2 touching spots are just built up and the rest is all needs to be removed or something. Just gonna keep tearing at it. I'm actually gonna cut this part away a bit. You know, it's a little wet. Sprue cutters. I'm gonna flex these for a second. If you watch Ninjon, he did a video about Japanese tools and hobby stuff. Now I guess if you're strictly into Warhammer, some of these things might be outside of the radar. But if you make model planes and model cars and stuff, some of these things are pretty staple. So these, I don't know if you can see the staple there. You can get closer. Can you read it? No, maybe not. So these are a pair of God hands that I paid like maybe $20 for after tax, $20 Canadian. And like I think they were like $14.99, and I freaking love these things. So, and they were like the cheap God hands that Ninjon was plugging in his video. I mean, the second he pulled them out, I was like, yeah, I got those. And like, he wasn't lying. These things are sharp as hell, and they do a really good job of just cutting rather than like smishing. Difference though is that like these are my army painter ones, and they're like, I kind of call them bolt cutters because like they can chop through some chunky sprues, and I would not cut through those same sprues with this little guy. If you look at the size difference, this guy can get into the nice fine little ones, and this guy I'll use for cutting big ones. But yeah, there's once again, you know, quality stuff that's inexpensive. Like, I feel like traditionally God hands were really expensive, and you can get cheap ones, and they work, you know, in my opinion, really well. I'm guessing though they're probably like more equivalent to like maybe a high-end like a Vallejo or Vallejo or however it's pronounced, or like another higher end hobby like A&K maybe. I don't know. Like they're probably like a lower level God hand, but equivalent to like a decent level of a domestic hobby brand. But honestly, one of the best investments I've had is just good sprue cutters. Let's see how melted this is. You squishy yet? Nah. I'm not gonna get in there. If that fit better, we got glue on the whole thing. So now we're just gonna use the Gorilla Glue and smash them. And just smush both sides together and then call this guy done. Not done, but at least glued up. Before I dive into the glue, take a little peek at the comment section here. Oh, I don't know if I caught you right away, but take care, Tyler. See you later. I don't know. I just kind of caught that comment now. Good luck at the hockey game, bud. Let's see. What are we at now? We got 2 people. Okay, it's a pretty quiet room, but no worries. You know, sometimes the quiet part is nice. And I am actually just very happy and appreciative that I got people hanging out here with me to paint. Or I guess in this case, in this episode, we're building. Oh, okay. Felt that that snap. Come near you. Yep, playing the waiting game. That's where I do the bell thing again. Ding! So, let's get a good look at this guy now. Yeah, that seam is visible. The one on his neck is gonna be, yeah, that one down here. Can you see that? One across there, no one's gonna see that. But that one right here, that line right there, I do not like. I don't exactly know. Like, I don't think I want to smear Tammy a putty on that. But I might. But I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm just gonna call him and prime him. Goes in on 9:30 here. Okay, well, let's put these guys on their little bases. You know, he looks pretty damn cool. When you look at him from the side, it's like, he does look pretty awesome. Let's get a different view here. Do across here. So, size-wise, we'd like plop him here, right? So he's kind of like, yeah. Yep. Oh. Glue job fits. Works. Alright. It's got seams and gaps, but it passed. Well, let's see if I can blow this up a little more here. Whoop. So putting him up here like this. They kind of give him almost like a hairdo draping over that. There's like a bit of a mound and a lump that drops down to the head. And his tendrils would kind of flow over that. Which that would be kind of cool. And I think I also kind of like the idea, call it the direction, that this guy's head's looking one way and this guy's looking the other way. Kind of like they're watching each other's back. Stay. That is a lot going on up top. That'll be hard to smuggle this dude onto that mound. But like, that does look pretty damn cool. I know. We'll get him primed. I'll hit him with the black, the gray, and the white. We'll do the same thing. Guess we gotta get party time with the airbrush again, eh? Oh, excuse me. Oh. I might start a viral contagion of yawn across the internet. Oh, what's that doing? Okay, my computer's being a bit funky. There we go. Nope, we're good. Okay, so we'll get this going. Should not be an issue. There we go. Okay, so we'll just do this. Pow. Oh. Hold on, let me fix this. This is off. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna get some black paint because we're gonna use more than the last time. I'm actually gonna make sure that this black paint has some decent flow to it, which means I'm actually gonna put just a touch of water down this pipe. Let's see where it's at. Alright. I think this jar is a bit jammed up. So we're going to use switch lids here. This is, I guess, one of the bummers about the siphons is that sometimes your siphon in your jars, your straws, are get a little messy. And if you don't flush them out, they'll clog up. And if they clog up, then they don't flow very well. But you can usually fix that by just blasting some cleaner through it. And then take it and then just blow the cleaner back in. Go back and forth with that. And get the party lights going. Filter up. Yeah, it's a reduced flow. So I'm guessing it's clogged in there. We'll deal with that another time. Now we'll just go on with the paint. So, we want a mask. And we're going to mix up some paint. So I took the lid out of a clean jar, out of the water jar specifically, and put it in here and switched them. So now as I flush and rinse with the cleaner, it'll clean out that straw a little bit, and this one will get good flow because it's been, rinsed at least a dozen times today. Alright, let's grab our booger monster. Totally blacked out. Huh. We'll come back into this gray after, but you know what? The paint kind of hides. Sorry. The paint kind of hides those seam lines. Not a whole lot though, but enough so that I'm not too upset about it. They actually look pretty good. You know, like some of the seam lines you get in nulls or out of the box are way worse, so I'll take it. Alrighty. Could I use something more substantial like milliput or green stuff? Sorry, I'm not sure. I can't recall when that part came back up. You probably could. But one of the things that I think, well, the reason why I didn't do it was because I figured I would have to, I'd have to waste some milliput. So I only needed like little tiny snakes of milliput or tamia putty to sort of sneak in those cracks. So I would basically have to take like 2 little tiny specks of milliput and then mush them together to get one tiny little like slug to like roll real thin and then stuff into the crack. So instead what I did was I just mushed tamia putty inside and squashed them together until it flowed out the seam, and then just wiped that all as smooth as possible without like digging it out of the crack. Yeah, so all these creatures that we're working on right now are they're Nurgle. So they're I guess they're agents of rot and death and chaos. I guess. Well, I don't know, maybe the chaos dudes are chaos. But it seems that they're usually a stinky looking festering bunch, these Nurgle. And that makes for some pretty cool content to paint. Yeah, but they usually have you know, chubby rotting guts, boils and blisters, and all sorts of nastiness on them that makes them fun to paint. So just go back and check on this guy and see. You probably use another minute to dry. Now, I did not scrub this thing. I gave a little bit of a scrub when I cut off all the bits from the sprue, and I guess that counts. But apparently, fine cast is notorious for having its paint peel off it, and I don't know if it's just me, but as my finger rubs against this, I'm taking it right off. Like, wow. I know it's not dry, but I expected better adhesion than this. Oh yeah, this just comes right off. There's still a little one of these. Alright, see that? Oh, So I'm kind of apprehensive about painting anything on top of this right now. Because I suspect it's just going to get peeled right off. What are we at? 9:42? Close to 3 hours? Well, my thought is with this guy, here, we're going to go, whoop, as I drop him on the floor. Well, a glue and earthquake. You know, he's got bumps and seams, but still good. Huh? What? No, there's a camera there. Top corner. Huh. God, you tripped me out. So, yeah. Still alive. Still good. Apparently, I can't hold on to the bloody thing. So we're just gonna... Whoa! Right back here. We'll get a good face-up look with him. So yeah, you can probably see now that this paint is peeling right off. I'm probably going to give him a little bit of a toothbrush bath. Probably take this paint off because it's going to come off real easy anyway. And try it again later. I don't know if we're going to do that on this live stream. Like, we're almost 3 hours in. Maybe we can. Nah. I will deal with this guy at some point. Because, yeah, that... Just touching your model and having that come off. Anything you paint on top of that's just going to peel off as you handle it. And that, especially if I'm going to try to glue it onto this thing's head, I'm going to have to handle it and mess with it with Milliput and keep painting it. So I kind of want a bulletproof primer on this. And that is not bulletproof. That just peels right off. Alright, so these fine casts. They look good, like the textures on this are really nice. But like, I'll be damned. These things, they have problems. I believe I read somewhere that GW discontinued them. Don't quote me on that. Like, they do look really cool. Especially this dude. I kind of like him. But yeah, that cut me off of the legs there. Damn. Okay. So, do we start with these guys? I'm thinking maybe we start with one of them. Let's try to get maybe one through. Let me hit the comments and see what y'all think. Okay, sorry, let me just get caught up on here. Bringers of Plague. Yeah. What is Finecast? I don't actually know. So, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure either. My guess is like it's a poured resin cast rather than like polystyrene. I'm gonna guess it's probably molded and poured or set like metal models. I don't know. It just seems to have like the way the joints and stuff come together. But I really don't know what the key chemical differences are in plastics. Like the mold lines and stuff from them just seem a lot bigger. They use a powder. My understanding is they use a powdered release agent in the molds. And what that does, like I used to stamp concrete and we used release agent. What release agent does is it lets your form release from whatever you're casting or molding without any bits of your cast sticking to the form itself. It's like a powdery buffer that will prevent adhesion of whatever you're putting in your mold to your mold itself. So I'm guessing they make these, they powder up the molds, they make these, they pop them out, and then they throw them right in packaging. And they come out with a bit of this dust from this released agent still on the plastic. And then when I go to paint it without scrubbing it really, really well, that dust, like the paint sticks to the dust, but it's dust that's not plastic. It's not attached to the plastic. So when you rub the dust off, there goes your paint. Because you're painting dust and not plastic. That's how I'm guessing. That's how I'm interpreting this paint peeling off the fine cast and why. It's like, look at that. Okay. Like if you look at this arm now, like anything I touch on this guy just comes right off. And it's almost coming off like I was wiping dust off it. Like, here, I'll grab this thing. I'll take this little brush and go do a little scrubberoo. Rough it up a bit. You know what? Looks like the outermost layers are the ones that are getting it the most. But yeah, we'll take some water and a toothbrush to this thing. Clean it up. Part of me just wants to keep blasting it black and say screw it. But I know that's just going to give me problems down the line. Like I don't know, but I'm pretty certain that that's not the solution I'm looking for. It's a quick fix, just gallon on the paint. But just the way it's flaking off, I don't like it. This is just a bad omen here. This is all a bad omen on this primer. Bah. We'll get back to you, buddy. So, we'll get this guy here. This guy with the scythe. He's got this tear in his belly. He's got all these pustules on his back. He's got some cloth and armor. I'm thinking... I don't know, because it's tough to say. He's got the same kind of gray bit there as the Glottkin with that little webbiness, and I would like to put some redness in there. I feel like just because of the textures and the look of it, I'm gonna end up with the same skin and folds as this guy, and this guy's just gonna like get off there. It's gonna like camouflage up there and just look like the skin keeps going up instead of it stopping with a dude perched on it. He'll just look like one big conehead growth holding a scythe. Yeah, this is one of those impasses. So I was really hoping to have this guy at least grayed and slap chopped up, and now I kind of feel like I've had to hit the brakes. Let me check the viewership in the comments section and see what's going on here. Okay, so pretty quiet. It's not bad. It might be a good time to. We'll see. Maybe take a little break here. We might. I don't know. We're close to 3 hours now. I don't know if there'll be enough time to start these two guys and paint them. This guy, I was really hoping to finish the slab chop, but I keep dropping it and I can't figure it out. You know what, guys? I think I'm gonna actually have to. We'll take the little pause here right now. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna spend the time scrubbing this thing with, soapy water and a toothbrush on camera. So what I'm thinking is we might just call it a night here. Wrap up our Friday night. And I'll try to scrub this guy up and have him primed and slap chopped and ready for next time. And we'll paint up all these guys together. Or maybe we'll do these guys one day, we'll do this guy another day. This guy's pretty damn cool. I might just sneak away and paint him up and have him ready. We'll see what happens. Let me check the comment section. What do you guys think? Oh, well, you're very welcome. Like I said, I have a lot to learn about Finecast as well. I don't know if I'll buy more Finecast models unless I really like the content of the model. But I will say the cleaning and building process for this guy was, even for a non-push fit model, it was next level. Like even the non-push fits, you can cut them out clean and then they'll kind of groove together. This guy took a lot more cleaning and sanding and clipping, and yeah, he's gonna take more cleaning. So yeah, I think we're gonna call it here. We're close to 3 hours. It's been a good session. We'll do a quick recap because it doesn't really feel like we got a whole lot done tonight. So I'll just do a quick little recap so it can feel like we got something done. We took this dude. We glued him. Well, we glued his head on, his neck to his body. We glued his arm and his sort of tail end here together. Let's just say how we glued this guy together. We got him assembled. We primed him black and realized that this is going to be a mess. So I'll have to clean it up, give it a good wash, and try again. We took these two guys. We primed them up. We took them from black to airbrush gray to a nice slap chop. I like to take my time with the slap chop. I like to get a nice gradient to work off of. It's kind of like front loading your work effort and then it gets really easy after. And this guy, we also slap chopped and prepared. And we also gave him a hand. And that part I'm pretty happy with because I was a little worried about how that hand was going to turn out, being a little chunkier. But I think it looks friggin' good. I might clean up that piece there, a little bit of leather. That, or I might just put like a little smear of Tamiya putty on it, put a line in the smear and make it look kind of like a ripped piece of skin. Something like that. Like it's already kind of like a ripped leather fold, so it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to turn it into ripped flesh. We'll see. Well, kind of a bummer about this guy. Like, that kind of took the wind out of my sails and kind of cut my project short right now. But, you know, that's kind of the nature of the beast. And then it's the lesson. Okay, discrete priming and slap. Dropping 2.5 models plus kit bashing scenes in progress. Frit flesh sounds neat, not like fits with the raw motif. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm gonna hide it with that ripped flesh, because it will be easy to hide in that motif. I do appreciate that. You know, sometimes we can have big progress in small things, and it's easy to overlook unless we look back at it and take a keen eye on what we're doing with it. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna clean this guy up. We'll have him ready for next time, I think. Yeah, it is the slow grind, and great things take time, right? All right. Let's see what else we got to do. Yep. Yeah. So I'm thinking I'll have this guy. I'll have him slap chopped and prepared for next time. Like, I'll just do the gray. This guy I'll cheat with. I'll do the gray. I'll do the brush. I'll have it all prepared. And then that way we can have all three of them. We'll make a pick next time. And hopefully we'll get through painting whichever ones we do. And we'll start making a plan for getting it up there. Or we might change plans. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. Like I said, it's our project. We'll work on it every Friday. Ooh, what's going on here? Okay. Title project. No, I don't want that. Sorry. Technical chaos. Okay. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care and have a great weekend. Cheers.